I'm here today with a very special lady, Jasmin Polley, who's a functional medicine practitioner and a biomechanical naturopath. And the reason I've got Jasmin here today, welcome, Jasmin.
Thank you. Thanks, Louise.
The reason I have Jasmin here today to speak with you is to talk about the microbiome and gut health, which is so very important for everybody. And certainly in the area where I work with, particularly women over the age of 40, there's no reason why what we're talking about today can't apply to men as well. And so it's a topic really for the whole family, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Gut health, which is really important. So we're going to talk about the importance of gut health today and how it can really be detrimental to your health and for your goals, particularly again in weight loss, which is what I'm discussing on a very regular basis with all my clientele as well. So again, if we can get that gut healthy, then obviously we're going to have more success for what it is we're wanting to achieve. So Jasmin, why is gut bacteria so important?
Well, gut bacteria do so much for us. So we're actually consist of more gut bacteria than our own body cells. And they have a huge impact on our immune balance. So starting from as young as birth, that's our first kind of exposure to the outside world and building up tolerance to the things that, to know that this is a virus or this is a bacteria that we need to fight, compared to this is my own self and I don't want to attack that. So like with the rise of autoimmune disorders, for instance. They also help with producing a lot of things we need for everyday functions. So for instance, some of your neurotransmitters can be helped with our gut microbiome. So things like serotonin and dopamine, the happy hormones, those things the gut microbiome has a huge influence on. So things like depression and anxiety can have a big effect. When it comes to chronic disease, like they have a big impact on inflammation in the system. So a lot of metabolic disorders as well. So and the list goes on, really.
Yeah, and it does. And I mean, that's the fascinating thing about the gut is, it's a horrible word, gut, but it is what it is, and we all know where our gut sits, and it really is like the heart of who we are and how we function. Would that be right to say?
Yeah, well, we're getting our nutrients in through our gut. So obviously it's not just about what we eat, but how we feed our gut bacteria. So I always say to people that you're eating for two in one respect, thinking about what, how well am I feeding my gut microbes, because that's going to have a big impact also. They also help with our detoxification, and that when that comes to weight loss, that's incredibly important because they can actually undo some of the good work that our liver does with trying to eliminate toxins out of our system, excess hormones out of our system that we don't need anymore. And if you've got an imbalance in gut bacteria, you can be recycling those things back into your body.
Wow, that's important to know that, because everybody's understanding that we're trying to flush out toxins and balance our gut and things like that. But if we don't understand how toxic our gut might be, then we could be really struggling to ever reach the goals that we're trying to achieve, because we just haven't got that balance in our gut. And like you said there, Jasmin, for weight loss, it is so important that we have an understanding of where our gut sits right now. So in your particular line of work, I think this is where women should be focusing on maybe coming to see someone like yourself who can obviously assist them and guide them.
Well, absolutely. I think that everybody that comes in, I see people for a variety of things, but gut is always a big part. I ask it on my initial questionnaire, and I quiz people about it in a consultation, because a lot of people don't understand that if they feel that their gut is, they're going to the toilet every day and they think that that's all that's important. Well, some people think that, it's not even, that they're not constipated if they're going once every 2 or 3 days. So it really depends on what the norm is. But it's going to be having a big impact, and they need to get that right if they're going to be working on some of these other issues. It can be an underlying cause of inflammation that's just fueling the body up, so we're kind of, it's very slow gains in some areas. And I've definitely found that when we do help people with improving their gut health, especially if they do have quite significant gut issues, that weight loss can be much easier for them to achieve.
Okay, look, you've hit on so many different things here in just that small chat that we've had already, but I just want to digress a little bit and say, like just then you mentioned about how people think if they only go to the toilet once every couple of days and their gut health is, or they may not even think about it, but just think that they're healthy because that's the norm, because that's what they've always done. But how many times a day? Is it only once a day, or should it be twice a day that people should be going?
That's a little bit, I guess that varies a little bit. I'm happy if people are going once a day. However, some people go 3 times a day. I think when it's in excess of 3 times a day, I think that then it's too much. So some people will be going 5-6 times a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and often that means that they're not having, their bowel motions are not complete. So, they're needing to go back for more, which is, obviously an inconvenience for them, and it does show that there's some issues with motility. So, and often that can come back to things like water, fibre, movement.
Okay. All right. And as Jasmin's mentioned, there are so many things about inflammation, and you'll have heard me speak about inflammation time and time again as well, and how it's so not good to hold inflammation within our bodies. I mean, there's a level of inflammation that we can manage, but then if it becomes a toxic inflammation, then it's it's very poor for our health and for our functioning. So and I think it also, the gut microbiome, would it be fair to say it also affects the brain?
Oh, hugely. Yeah. So there's definitely some bacterial species that have been shown to be associated with depression or with people who don't suffer from depression. It's still early days, so we really don't have the answers around that. However, we do know that a healthy gut microbiome does help with healthy, say, serotonin levels, for instance. As serotonin is really important for gut motility as well. But obviously it's our happy hormone too. So, you can sort of see right there that it's about balance, really.
Terrific. So what can we do if we're, not certain about our gut health at the moment? And like I said, probably many of us haven't even thought about where our gut health is. But what can we do to assure that we're on the right path with the choices we make through food and I guess exercise? What can we do? Are there any little tips that you can give us?
Yeah, absolutely. So fibre is probably one of the most important things, and it's a variety of fibres too. So it doesn't mean that you have to be eating all grain, and it's not generally something that's good for a lot of people anyway, but a wide variety of plant foods. So that could be things like whole grains, obviously fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, and try to vary the variety as much as possible. We know that the phytonutrients that make up a lot of the colours, so they're of different
vegetables,
plants. So feed different bacterial species. So you could be for instance, going between like an orange carrot to a purple carrot, or choosing a Granny Smith apple instead of a Red Delicious, or choosing cos lettuce instead of your iceberg lettuce. Really varying things up and not doing the same things every day. A lot of what I notice with clients, they're coming in and they've got their set routine. It could be a healthy routine, but it's the same things all the time. And by that, they're minimising their gut microbiome.
Okay, that's a really good point. That's a good point, because you're right. I think a lot of people fall into a pattern going, well, I have that for breakfast every morning and I'll have my whatever for lunch, and then tea might be a bit more varied up. But yes, you're right. I think that's a really interesting point there, just to vary the diet with lots of colour. And the phytonutrients, as you've mentioned, which is a P, it starts with a P if you want to look that up, not with an F. Definitely do some research into that, because it's a really interesting topic within itself. So is there anything we should absolutely avoid that a lot of people fall into the trap of doing? Do you know?
Well, I would say excess usage of antibiotics is a big one. And I honestly feel the same with a lot of the medications that are around gut health. So for instance, the oral contraceptive pill has a negative impact. So also HRT would have a negative impact, because hormones are affected by the gut microbiome. Things like your acid blockers are big when it comes to gut health, because they're stopping the acid development, and you can't break down your foods properly, so you're more likely to develop things like food intolerances or overgrowth of bacteria that are in the wrong spot. So things like SIBO, or small intestine bacterial overgrowth, can be really common with those things. Now, obviously, if there's a need for them, but what I encourage people to do is see if there's, is there another way, especially around those medications. Do they necessarily need that, or is it because of maybe the foods they're eating? Maybe they're eating too many high-fat foods, for instance. They're eating too late at night. They're rushing their meals. Those sort of things that are not setting them up for good digestion as well. So.
Yeah, okay, no, that's all very, very important stuff. And I guess we can all be a little bit complacent about the choices we make, and because of how busy we are and the lifestyles we live and the stresses that we might be under. So it's really about being mindful, and I think today you've brought a lot of mindful opportunities here with this chat. So I want to thank you very much, Jasmin, for coming in and having a chat with all of us. And look, if you're in the area of Newcastle, New South Wales, Jasmin is located in Charlestown, and as I said, she's a functional medicine practitioner and a biomedical naturopath, and done a lot of study to get all that, and has as you can hear, has an amazing amount of knowledge and expertise. So if you're in this local area, please look up Jasmin Polley. You'll be very pleased that you've done so. If you're not in the area, again, wherever you are in the world, just again have a look at someone that specialises in gut health, because I think it's the crux, it's the foundation of what we need to really balance and get well first. So that again, if you're wanting to lose weight and be the best version of yourself, then if you know that your gut health is working really beautifully and everything's going well, then naturally everything's going to follow in place. Do you agree?
Yeah. I think that stress, there's other big aspects there, but if you're not getting the nutrients you need into your system, then you can't cope with the stresses you're faced with either.
Exactly, which is a big one. So thank you again, Jasmin.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media plugged in on your screen right now. Thank you, and stay healthy, stay happy.